We're given a table here that shows a step cost function. And what we need to do is first of all, write the cost function and secondly, sketch a graph of it. So I'll do part one first. There's a novel concept. All right, so we'll start here and what we need to do is we're going to write that the cost will be, and this is where we get our little curly bracket working. So first of all, our cost, when it's less than 2 hours, it's $65. So I'm going to write $65 there. Then in blue, just because I'm thinking, I'm going to write here less than 2 hours. The next cost is $90. And this is from 2 hours to less than 3 hours. And the next bracket is $110. And that is from 3 hours to less than 4. And so on. So what I'll do now is I need to convert this blue language into some of this greater than, less than stuff that we become familiar with. Now remember, less than 2 hours looks like that. And we know that t is the time, but we also know that the time has to be greater than or equal to 0. So my first part is going to be between 0 and 2 hours, and it's going to look like that. Now here, if it's exactly 2 hours, it's going to fall in the $90 category. So I'm going to write the 2 like that, with that equal sign there as well, to time and then to 3 hours. And this one is 3 hours, including the 3 hours to time and then less than 4 hours. And my final one is going to be $130, and that's going to be from 4 hours. And I have the equals there. But now this says to 5 hours. So for me, I think that should also include 5 hours. So here is it's called my domain. Here are my t values. So now what I'll do is I'll get those and I'll move them across, and that's what my cost function should look like. So the next thing I need to do now is sketch my cost function. So first of all, I will get my axes out like this. So this will be part B, and then I'll start sketching to make sure it's okay. So part B, my cost function, remember this axis is called C and I'm measuring it in dollars because my cost in dollars. And this axis is my time and I'm measuring that in hours. So I'm going to label that. Now, I know across the bottom I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then up my cost axis, let's divide it into $50 notches. Remember, if you were doing this in an exam or in a SAC or something like that, what you would find is that you'd be given paper that's a grid already. So, or if you're not, you do need to be very careful, but I would expect that you'd be given a grid. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look. First of all, it's $65 between 0 and 2. I'm going to show this one in orange. So I'll just put a little orange dot there. And what I'll do is I'll say it's $65, which is about there, between 0 and 2. And I reckon that's about what that would look like. Now, I've drawn that. But I also need to show that it does include 0 and it doesn't include 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it includes 0 by having a coloured in dot. And I'm going to show it doesn't include 2 by having an open dot. So that means every value up to 2 is included, but not 2. My next bracket I'm going to show in yellow, and so I'll put a little yellow dot there so I know. And that's from 2 to 3. So again, what I'll do is I'll look for $90, which will be somewhere around about here. And it goes from 2 to 3. And then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, now I need to show that 2 is included, but that 3 is not. My next one, let's do this in green. I'm going to show from 3 to 4, and I do the same sort of thing. It's $110, which is about here. From 3 to 4, it's perfectly across, so that's not perfect. So let's try and make this as great as I can. It's not working well for me right now, this particular line, unfortunately, but that'll do. And now, again, I'm going to show that it includes the 3 hours by colouring that in, but it doesn't include the 4 hours, so I'll leave that open. And finally, in purple, I'll show from 4 to 5 hours inclusive. And again, I'll get out my little line. It's at 130, which is about here. And it goes from 4 to 5, which looks like that. And here is my cost function. And what I've done is I've shown which numbers are and aren't included in each of the steps. And that's what a typical cost function will end up looking like.